I've always believed that technology moves faster when barriers move slower. And when I think about barriers, I don't just mean engineering bottlenecks or physics problems. I mean the invisible walls that countries build between each other, the kind that twist the shape of an economy until it doesn't resemble the natural flow of innovation at all. And that's why tariffs have always felt to me like these artificial market distortions, like someone pushing their thumb onto a scale and insisting it's still an honest measurement. Because when you add friction between places that should cooperate, you aren't protecting growth, you're just slowing down progress. And honestly, I've never understood why we'd intentionally inject inefficiency into a system that already has enough natural challenges. The world doesn't need more drag, it needs acceleration. And yeah, I get the idea that people want to protect certain industries or create leverage or negotiate terms. But if we're trying to build a future that's faster, more connected, and more capable, doesn't it make more sense to lower the walls instead of raising them? And I remember watching trade slowdowns happen in real time, seeing supply chains wobble, seeing manufacturing partners choke on higher input costs, seeing startups get crushed because they couldn't compete with the artificial constraints that tariffs created. And I'd think to myself, this is insane. We're penalizing the very people who are trying to build the next era of industry. And no matter how many spreadsheets or models I looked at, the conclusion was the same: free trade just makes more sense. It's not a radical idea, it's just common sense. If two countries can exchange value without someone slapping a tax on the handshake, both sides benefit and innovation gets to move at the pace it should. And when I was building companies, sometimes sleep deprived, sometimes running on coffee and adrenaline, I'd see these tariff rules drop from the sky like someone randomly pressing the emergency brake in a high-speed car and then wondering why the passengers are dizzy and the engine overheats. And I'd think, why are we doing this? Why are we slowing down the machine when the world's biggest challenges, climate change, sustainable energy, multi-planetary life, require speed, not bureaucracy? And it always came back to the same principle. Competition is good. Protectionism is not, because competition makes you better, but protectionism just makes you comfortable. And comfort never pushed humanity forward. And I've said before, markets work best when they're allowed to be markets, not when they're twisted by arbitrary costs that pretend to solve problems, but actually create more inefficiency than they eliminate. And when you look at the long arc of human advancement, almost every major leap happened because some barrier fell, because someone somewhere got access to a resource, a technology, a relationship that wasn't accessible before. And trade is basically the mechanism by which civilizations share their best ideas with each other. So, when you throw tariffs onto that mechanism, you're basically putting noise into the signal. You're muddying the water, you're slowing the transmission of knowledge, and in a century where speed is survival, that feels like a mistake. So when people ask me what I think about tariffs, I tell them the truth. I think they distort markets, I think they slow innovation, I think they create bottlenecks where we need pipelines. And I think that if humanity wants to move faster toward a sustainable future, toward a multi-planetary future, toward a future where intelligence, both biological and artificial, collaborate instead of collide, we're going to need something simpler than bureaucratic walls. We're going to need open channels, open exchange, open access, and yeah, free trade isn't perfect, nothing is, but it's a hell of a lot closer to efficient than slapping taxes between countries and pretending that makes the world stronger, because strength comes from agility, from resilience, from competition, from cooperation, not from tariffs that fossilize old systems and discourage new ones. And so, whenever I talk about this, I'm not trying to make a political argument. I'm making an engineering argument. I'm saying let the system optimize, let the flow of value be as frictionless as possible. Let the inventors and builders compete on the merits of their ideas, not on the costs imposed by geopolitical chess moves. And that's why I keep repeating the same point. Free trade is common sense, and tariffs are distortions. And if you want humanity to go faster, you don't add friction, you remove it. And maybe one day we'll look back at this era the same way we look at old machinery full of gears that grind and jam and require constant maintenance, and we'll realize that the future didn't need all that complexity. It needed simplicity, openness, and velocity, because at the end of the day, progress isn't about building higher walls, it's about building better bridges, and that's why I'll always advocate for freer trade, fewer distortions, and a global system that lets innovation breathe, run, and eventually fly. And as I kept building companies and watching the world twist itself around these strange economic rules, I started noticing how much energy humanity wastes fighting over artificial limitations instead of expanding what's actually possible. And it reminded me of engineering problems where someone keeps tightening a bolt to solve a vibration issue, even though the real problem is the entire structure is misaligned. And tariffs feel like that tightening the wrong bolt mentality they claim to fix imbalance. But really they're dealing with symptoms, not the underlying system. And when you magnify that approach across dozens of countries, you get this patchwork of restrictions where everyone is trying to optimize locally, but destroying efficiency globally. And that's the complete opposite of how we design rockets or cars or AI systems. Because if we built SpaceX that way, Falcon 9 wouldn't even reach the tower, let alone orbit. And it's funny in a tragic way, because the world has accepted these obstacles for so long that many people think they're natural, like gravity or thermodynamics, even though they're just political choices that could be undone with a single agreement. And whenever I sit with engineers, I see the clarity we aim for. We try to remove dependencies, eliminate redundant constraints, simplify pathways, and match solutions to the physics. Not to tradition, but tariffs are tradition disguised as policy, and they survive not because they're logical, but because change is uncomfortable. And I get it. Humans cling to things that feel safe, but if humanity always clung to safety, we'd still be living in caves, hoping lightning doesn't strike our tree. And I don't want to see the future held back by fear-based economics, because when your goal is something as massive as transitioning the world to sustainable energy, you need every efficiency multiplier you can get. And global collaboration is one of the biggest multipliers available. So putting tariffs on that collaboration is like throttling a rocket engine mid-ascent just to prove a point. And I've watched companies struggle not because they lacked innovation, but because they were crushed by cost structures, distorted by these invisible toll booths on international cooperation. And that bothers me, not just as someone who builds things, but as someone who wants humanity to operate at its full potential. And sometimes people say to me, but Elon free trade could expose industries to foreign competition. And I always answer with the same thing. Competition isn't the enemy, stagnation is. And an industry protected from pressure becomes brittle, fragile, incapable of adapting when the world changes, and the world is changing faster than ever. AI, renewable energy, robotics, space, exploration, everything is moving at a pace where only the adaptable survive, and if an industry needs tariffs to exist, then it isn't being prepared for the future. It's being shielded from reality, and that reality will win every time. And as I've said many times, engineering doesn't care about ideology, physics doesn't care about politics, markets don't care about artificial rules. They care about efficiency, and human progress follows the same logic. It accelerates when friction is removed and stalls when unnecessary resistance is added. So when I talk about tariffs as distortions, I'm not making some grand ideological argument. I'm simply describing inefficiency like a misaligned bearing or a clogged fuel line. And I want humanity to stop accepting these constraints as if they're unavoidable, because they're not their choices, and we can choose differently. We can choose openness, simplicity, fairness, competition, real competition. Not the cartoon version that exists under layers of taxes and restrictions. And if we're serious about building a world that's sustainable, connected, and maybe one day spread across more than one planet, we can't start by building walls between the only planet we currently inhabit, the universe. Rewards boldness, not bureaucracy. And every time I see a new tariff proposed or an old one reinforced, I feel like yelling across the world, "You're slowing the mission down, and the mission is bigger than any single country or political narrative. The mission is about lifting humanity to a higher level of capability, understanding, and resilience. And that requires systems that flow, not systems that clog. And if there's one thing I've learned from rockets, batteries, cars, AI, and tunnels, it's that you solve big problems by removing friction, not adding it. And so I'll keep arguing for free trade, for frictionless exchange, for systems that optimize naturally instead of by force, because if we have any hope of reaching the kind of future we imagine, the kind of future worth building, the kind of future where humanity thrives at planetary scale, we need to stop distorting the engine that drives innovation and let the world accelerate the way it